Hello students. Today's topic we are going to discuss regarding parasitic infection. This is the first part, parasitic infection. Parasites includes various protozoa and worms which may infect humans causing parasitic disease. A parasitic infection is an infection caused or transmitted by a parasite. Many parasites do not cause disease, but some are good and some are bad also, or some may produce infection, some are good for the human also. So parasitic infection can affect partially all living organisms including plants and animals. So basic terminology and principles which are commonly used in this are like symbiosis, living together, then commensalism, one symbiont benefits other unaffected or affected. Then mutualism, both symbionts benefit. Then parasitism, one symbiont benefits, other is damaged. One symbiont is benefits, other is damaged. So keep in mind, commensalism, one symbiont benefits and other is unaffected. But in parasitism, one symbiont is benefits and other is damaged. Okay. The next common types of parasites are. What are the common types of parasites? Like example, you can see roundworms, tapeworms, hookworms, then hurtworms, amoeba, then flies, fleas, lice, mites, ticks, and spiders. Then each cause different symptoms and different infections. So these are like how the roundworm, hookworm, then mosquitoes, and amoeba. Then parasites are found in all groups of organisms. All groups of organisms. Infection versus disease. Successful parasites live in but do not kill their host. Keep in mind, successful parasites live in but do not kill their host. Then protozoa multiply within host. Protozoa multiply within host. Expression of the disease depends on host factor. How it is going to react, that is depend on the host factor. Then helminths do not multiply within host. Severity of disease depends on parasite burden and immunological response to parasite. Like helminths that do not multiply, but the disease or the infection severities depends on the parasite burden and the immunological response of the individual or to the parasites. This is about infection versus disease. So parasitic modes of entry. Parasite modes of entry, if you are seeing, the first and foremost one is ingestion. Second one is arthropoda bites. Third one is penetration of intact skin or mucous membrane. So by injection, they used to easily enter. The next, arthropod bites by bite by mosquitoes. Example. Then penetrates of intact skin or mucous membrane via food. Clear. These are parasites mode of entry. We can able to see route by which human acquire parasitic infection. So contact and penetration of eyes, acanthamobia, acanthamobia, acanthamobia. Then inhalation, if it is going acanthamobia, then enterobius, Nalgeria, then fecal oral injections, Ascaris, Balantidium, Toxoplasma, then Cyclospora. These are some example. Then sexual contact, Entamoeba, Giradia, Trichomonas. Then vector-borne if you're getting kissing bugs, Trypanosoma. Then mosquito, Plasmodium. Then sandfly, Leishmania. Then contact and penetration of skin, Ancyclostoma. nectar. These are the some of the routes of entry where the human used to get parasitic infections, either by contact and penetration of eye, then inhalation, fecal oral ingestion, sexual contact, contact and penetration of skin, then vector borne. Okay. Next, spread and trophisms. Spread and trophisms. Some parasites must migrate to certain locations within the host in order to complete their life cycle. So some parasite must migrate. Some parasite must migrate to certain location within the host. Like example, if it is entering via the oral route, it has to travel together and settle down either in the GI system or in the lower extremities. Likewise, okay. So when they are settling over there, where they can able to complete their life cycle, then complete life cycle. Non-human parasites in humans often fail to migrate properly and become dead end infections. Then moving on to the first one, symbiosis. Symbiosis means what? The relationship between two living things, animals. Two living things live together and involve protection or other advantages to one or other partner. That is called symbiosis. Symbiosis is the relationship between two living things. Then mutual mutualism, an association which is beneficial to both living things, that is lichen and fungus. Lichen plants look alike or algae would survive with the fungus by attaching itself on rock and absorb in nutrients. In return, the lichen uses the nutrients made by the fungus to produce carbon dioxide. So fungus can photosynthesis. So lichen and fungus, where they both used to live together, or mutualisms where the lichen is utilizing the fungus. The next, commensalism. 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 Both partners are able to lead independent lives, but one may gain advantage from the association when they are together and least not damage to other. So one will get the benefit, another one will not get benefit, but not affected also, unaffected. The female pia crab in the mantle cavity of its mussel host, the crab does not damage the mussel and uses its shells purely for protection. Next, parasitism. The last one is parasitism, an association which is beneficial to one partner and harmful to the other partner. The former, that is beneficial to is called parasite. The later, that is harmful to, is called host. Okay, so beneficial one is called parasite and the affected one is called, or the harmful one is called host. Next, moving on to the human parasites are divided into endoparasites which causes infection inside the body and ectoparasites which cause infection superficially within the skin. So in human parasites we are dividing into two, endoparasites and ectoparasites. Endo inside the body infections and ecto superficially within the skin. So moving on to the parasites, list of parasites in human, that is endoparasites. Those are protozoan organisms, helminths organisms, and other organisms. Helminths, if you are taking the worm, tapeworm, flucus, and roundworm. Okay. Then endoparasites, if you are taking endoparasites like protozoa, plasmodium, causes malaria. Then entamoeba causes amoebiasis. Then amoebic dysentery. Then Giardia causes giardiasis. Then Trypanosoma brucei causes African sleeping sickness. Then Hellman's organisms worms, twin worm causes enterobiasis. Guinea worm, also known as Draculanesis, hookworm, and tapeworm. This is about helminthics. Then ectoparasites are bed bugs, head louse, pediculosis, body loose, pediculosis, then scabies, then demodex, then phyla, etc. These are ectoparasites. So in the forthcoming classes, we are going to see separately about the protozoal infection, about the helminthic infection, and about the ectoparasite. Okay. So ectoparasites are example if you are taking common name of the organisms or disease. First one is bed bug. Latin name is Cimex lectularius. So main the areas affected is the bed bug will affect the skin. So diagnostic specimen visually you can able to identify. Prevalence are worldwide it is prevalence. Then sharing of cloths and bedding. Transmission is mainly sharing of cloths and bedding. Then house flues are pediculosis. You can take pediculosis, pediculosis humanus or pediculosis humanus corporis. Pediculosis humanus is present in head and corporis is present in the body. Mainly hair follicles. Part affected are hair follicles. Visual identification under magnification. Visual identification under magnification. You can able to visually identify. Prevalence common from world to all over the world, and transmission is head to head or skin to skin contact, such as sexual activity and via sharing, clothing, or bedding. In Crapulus pediculosis, this other form, this is same about that one only. We can able to identify this is particularly present in the pubic area and eyelashes. This also spread via skin to skin contact or sexual contact or changing of using of same cloths and bedding. Next, demodex. Demodex, particularly you can able to find out in the eyebrow or eyelashes. Okay, so microscopy of eyelashes or eyebrow hair follicles you can able to identify. Prevalence are pandemic or worldwide. Then prolonged skin to skin contact, that is the main thing. Then scabies, scabies skin, microscopy of surface scraping, worldwide skin to skin contact such as sexual activity and via sharing cloths and bedding. Then screwworm, skin and wounds, visual. This is particularly present in American directions. Then direct contact with fly. Then phyla, this is Fulax iridant skin, the area of affection is skin. Then visual identification under magnification worldwide. This is present in our environment. This is about ectoparasites. Ectoparasites are maximum affect the skin, hair follicles, then pubic areas, eyebrows, lashes, maximum over the hairs and the skin. Okay. The next, the diagnosis, maximum diagnosis we can able to confirm with the naked eye or by the visual identification. Then prevalence are more commonly, this is prevalence all over the world. The next, transmission, if you're saying maximum, it is having a transmission of sharing of your own cloths or bedding, then head to head transmission, then skin to skin contact. These are the possible way where the ectoparasites used to transmit. Okay. So this is about ectoparasites. Over this, we are completing today's topic about parasitic infection. So today topic we had what is parasitic infection and what are the terminology used in this one and what are the classification of parasitic infection like protozoa, helminthic and ectotropes. That is endotropes and ectotropes. Endo it is of protozoa and endoparasites. It is of protozoa and helminthic, and ectoparasites that is about skin infections. So in the coming classes, we'll see about protozoal infections. Thank you.